Welcome, everybody, to the Human Happy Hour. I'm your host, Rena, and I'm here with your other host, Jason. And today, our guest is Chef Nathan Santana. Chef Nathan Santana has been working in professional kitchens for over a decade. He received an associate degree from the Art Institute of California. A Los Angeles-based chef, he has worked for high-end establishments, including the Wallace, Purdue and Proper, and H-Wood Group. So welcome, Chef
Thanks for
Nathan.
having me.
Hey there. Oh, wow. Those are all fancy words there.
I know, right?
Proper's actually in the title. Well, it's good to finally meet you. We've been talking through Alex for a while. But I wanted to know, when did you first know that you wanted to be a chef?
Honestly, I always coached like growing up. I didn't like know I wanted to do it. I coached with like my grandmother and like I would cook at home. Um, and then I honestly just like needed a job. So my friend's parents owned like a small sports bar in the hometown that I grew up in, and they needed cooks, so I got a job on the line over there. And I kind of just fell in love with it. I was like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. So I started doing it more and more. And then I moved to LA and dabbled in a bunch of like, different kitchens, like cooking at different places. And then that's when I found the Wallace, and I spent like 5 years over there.
Oh, what is
So
the Wallace?
the Wallace is not there anymore, but it was like a tapas style restaurant in Culver City. We did it wasn't like one cuisine or anything like that. It was, the flavors were kind of like flavors of LA. So it was like, there was octopus and like ramen vinaigrettes and, all kinds of different things. But I spent like 5 years over there with Joel Miller. That's who I work for now over at H Wood. And then when I left there, that's when I went to Peru and Proper, and I spent some time over there with Sammy Mansour. We went to like Rome and we did a bunch of cool shit. We got recognized by Michelin. And then COVID happened, and then it all kind of shut everything down.
Hmm. Oh,
And then
wow.
during COVID, Joel owned a sandwich shop before we went over to H Wood, and during COVID, I just worked over at the sandwich shop with him just to kind of like keep myself sane and not like sit at home every single day.
Officially, just so it's on the table here, I'm a horrifying cook unless it's white trash food.
What kind of white trash food?
Hamburgers, breakfast, stuff
What's
like
not to
that.
like about hamburgers and breakfast?
Not that I'm really good at those two things also.
Honestly, I hardly ever cook at home.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean I do, but like I'm like super basic when I'm at home. Like I'll buy
Hmm.
a rotisserie chicken and shred it and throw it in a bunch of different things.
Oh, that's the best. Rotisserie
It's great.
chicken. Oh, it's like $4, or you could spend more and have to cook it.
Exactly.
It's
I'd
like
rather just get it and shred it and not have to worry about cleaning anything
so
up.
good. Then make soup with the bones. Mm.
Exactly. See, that's so white trash.
You all are making me think of, like, my father went through a phase where he was just obsessed with rotisserie chickens, like every
Oh,
night. Rotisserie chicken, and
you just say it and it.
I don't even eat chicken anymore. Like I think it's like part of it.
Yeah, I've
Is
seen
to
a couple
eat chicken.
documentaries. It makes me wonder if I should be doing it too.
I know all the stuff that they're putting in the food nowadays. You got to be careful.
Oh God, and yeah, just the torture, but whatever. Chicken torture. I don't know.
I'll still
Chicken
eat it though.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, it's just
Who
so
eat tortured
tasty.
chickens?
It's so good.
It's just so
Like
good.
I'll buy good stuff. I'll go to Whole Foods and buy like nice rotisserie chicken. I mean, honestly, the Costco rotisserie chicken
Mm,
is just
that's where I used to work. That's where I fell in love with rotisserie chicken.
Oh my gosh.
hey, Costco is like 3 Michelin stars. Okay, you can have a tasting menu throughout the whole store, and then you get
Uh-huh.
pizza on the way out. It's not to
Oh
like.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. They have some great food there without a doubt. I
Dude,
think
Kirkland.
most restaurants around here get their food from Costco. Like I think they make Costco runs because we'd always see like restaurant cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Like places like that are good because you can buy in bulk
Oh
if
yeah.
you're in a kind of like Restaurant Depot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like the greatest of quality, but if you're in a pinch and you need like big things of fryer oil or something like that, you can go there and get it. Same thing
Right.
with honestly, Smart and Final. You can get some of the stuff
Mm.
at Smart and Final too.
What's it
We have a
called?
Smart and Final.
Oh, I never heard of it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm in
It
Vermont.
must be.
Um,
It must.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in Vermont, and I used to be on the East Coast, and I had never seen it on the East Coast in like the Baltimore,
there you
DC
go.
area. So I wonder if Smart and Final is a West Coast thing.
Probably. Vermont. Haven't been up to New England in a while. Man, I love Maine. I've been up to Maine a few times.
Oh, where in Maine?
Portland and
Hmm.
Kennebunk.
Oh, okay. I like York Harbor. That's where my favorite place is. I don't know why. I thought it was because it was my wife and mine honeymoon. That's why it was my favorite place. I don't like it there anymore.
I like Maine. The restaurants were really good. The food was really good. The
Yeah.
people were really nice.
Yeah.
Like Portland's a really cool city. It's like very like if I would say it's like a small Boston.
Yeah,
You know,
you're right. I
like Boston's
agree.
a lot of fun.
Hmm.
But there's this really good restaurant in Portland called Via Vecchia, and it's really, really good. Last time I went out there, I met the chef. I don't know if he's still the chef over there, Mitchell. But I went there and like I didn't know what to expect 'cause I've never like been to Maine,
Hmm.
and like the food was phenomenal. Like the experience, like everybody was like just so nice.
Hmm.
The wine, everything was really good.
Oh, wow. Well, that's excellent.
Highly recommend it.
I
Nice.
haven't been, but I've always heard good things from the people that I know that have gone that far north. I want to try lobster. Right? Is
It's so
Maine?
good. The seafood there is insane.
Yeah,
It's cold
lobster.
it's cold as shit, but like
Yeah.
summertime is beautiful.
Yeah, lobster's great. I mean, it's just wonderful.
So when you travel, Chef Nate, do you always make food like a part of that experience? And how do you travel like as a chef trying to like experience cuisine in different
I
places?
mean, it depends. Like I'm going to Spain in like a week and a half. So my buddy's Sammy, who I used to work with at Prima Proper, he's getting married out there. So like if I travel with like chef friends, like we're eating the whole time. And like walking around. Like we were in Rome in like 2019 and like I want to see things. Like if I'm going out of the country, I want to like see history and like, you know, indulge in the culture and like meet people. And like I'm not like seeking out like the high-end restaurant trying to find like overseas. I want to
Mhm.
go eat at like the local places. I want to go just like walk around and like look at a menu and be like, that looks cool. And go eat there and like talk to the local bartenders or talk to the local people that are there. I think, I mean, when I go to Spain, I obviously do want to eat at like a nice high-end, at least one while I'm there. But like I want to go eat at like the local hole in the wall space places. I think that's where you're gonna find the best experience. And like if I'm traveling in the States, I'm usually with friends. So it's like we'll go out to eat, but like my friends that I grew up with, like they're like they like to go out to eat, but like it's not like their main focus, We'll go out and like do things, but I always try to like make reservations at places, if I'm traveling within the States. Especially when I was in Maine. Like I wanted to go everywhere when I was in Maine, like New York, like if I'm out in New York, like I just walk around the city and like I'll stop at places. There's places I go to though, like if I'm usually hanging out in Brooklyn if I'm like in New York, like this Manhattan's like not where I like to hang out. It's usually the Lower East Side or like in Brooklyn somewhere. Queens is a lot of fun.
Hmm. Yeah, when I was in New York, um, my favorite place to eat was oh God, it's like Charlie's. It was just this place on the side of the street that had hamburgers, hot dogs, fried everything, pizza, and it was a big bus, and
Yeah,
everything in there was amazing.
it was probably all delicious.
Oh, it was insane. And it was open all night long. It was
Like
so
a
so.
a bagel from a cart, like in the morning,
Oh yeah. Oh my God. It's just
black
so good.
coffee. That's all you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. I've been to a lot of fancy places. I went to Europe when I was 12. My aunt and uncle were pretty well off, and they brought us all there. And I couldn't find anything to eat when I was there. Even like the stuff I was used to as a kid, like McDonald's and stuff, it all tasted weird and strange. And I
Because it didn't
remember,
have all the additives and
yeah,
the
pretty much, probably.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
fresh out there. McDonald's in Rome was insanely delicious.
Really? Okay, maybe I would like it as an adult.
It's yeah, because it's like it's fresh. It's not like all processed.
Yeah, that's
The
probably what
sauces
it
are
is.
different. Like they're like the sauces are different. Like it's not like it's like aioli, over there instead of like mayonnaise and stuff. Even though it's technically kind of the same thing, but it's just like
Yeah.
it's like you could tell that it was like made within a couple days. It's not like everything that's coming off of a shelf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was like I had to get it while I was in when I was in Rome. I was like, I have to have McDonald's while I'm here. Because I mean, if you go everywhere, like where we were staying, there's this small town Testaccio, and we were out there like doing food for food and agriculture for the UN. So
Mhm.
we're there for like this big nonprofit program
Oh
going on.
wow.
And it was like a bunch of us different chefs. Like it was me and Sammy from Los Angeles. There was a couple people from, there was somebody from South Africa there, Peru, India, all these chefs that we met. It was a lot of fun. And we got to go out and eat, we went out and ate, but when we were like walking around the city center, I saw like a McDonald's. I was like, I have to go there. Like I have to eat McDonald's in Europe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean,
And was it that different? McDonald's in Europe?
yeah, I
You can
mean,
get
it's
a
just
beer.
fresher.
Yeah.
It's a lot fresher. Like you can taste the difference. Like it's not like they take pride in like actually what they're doing.
Mhm.
It's not just like a fast food, like it's fast food, but it's like they care as
Yeah.
opposed to like, you go to a fast food place out here and no one gives a shit.
Yeah. There's more
Although
rules.
the original McDonald's out here started, it was a family and they did care. And then
Mm.
I don't know if you've seen that. What is that movie? The
Founder?
Founder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that story is wild.
Mm.
But you watch it and then you're like, they should have just left this poor family alone and we would have still had like good fresh burgers
Yeah. That
and it would
happens
have
all
been
the
fine.
time. My
Well, yeah,
favorite
when you
spaghetti
monopolize,
sauce.
yeah, like when you monopolize and like you have all these chains, like it's so hard to keep track of what everybody is doing. Like you kind of just have to trust the people that are there.
What is your favorite jar spaghetti sauce? He's like,
That's the
why would I
funniest
buy that?
question.
No, I
No, I
mean
have one.
Bertolli, I mean Bertolli's not bad.
Oh, okay. Is that
I
from
mean,
the area, your area?
yeah,
Or
yeah, it's here in LA. It's on the shelf. I mean, Rouse isn't bad.
that's my favorite. But it
Rouse
was
isn't bad.
just purchased by Campbell. That's why I brought it up, which is so sad.
Yeah. Like I'll buy canned spaghetti sauce, but honestly, I'll just buy like crushed tomatoes and I'll just add like garlic and oregano to it, and it's just as
Right.
good.
You're a chef.
Just fresh tomato, man. Fresh tomatoes, salt, oregano. Really, all you need is some garlic.
All right, I'll try it. Could you give me
Like
a
if,
recipe for sauce? So because Campbell's is going to ruin my row.
I don't think they'll ruin it.
He just
It'll be watered down now.
he just gave you a recipe,
I know.
Jason.
All right, I'll
He
just
said
try.
crushed tomatoes, garlic, basil. I'm
And
gonna try that now at home actually, because
yeah, me
I
too.
used to grow heirloom tomatoes, and so I'm like very picky with tomatoes because once you grow them, you go to the grocery store, you go anywhere, and you're like, this is not an heirloom tomato. And even like some restaurants will advertise and they'll say heirloom tomato, and I'm like, you're lying, and I know it.
Honestly, like San Marzano, like some of the best tomatoes.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like like San Marzano tomatoes, great.
Oh, okay.
Those are like
I'm
Bianco, like
I'm
canned
gonna
Bianco
write this
tomatoes.
down.
Like, you can find Bianco tomato. You can find Bianco tomatoes at Whole Foods.
Oh, okay.
Huh. Okay.
I'm actually writing this.
We're learning how to make sauce. You're right.
Because what's the guys' local grocery store in New England? It's like
Hannaford
and
Shaw's.
that's what I was gonna say, Hannaford's.
Yeah.
I've been doing Hannaford's.
Yep, Hannaford. But there's also Healthy Living, which is a good place to go too.
I have a few friends in Atlanta, and Publix was always
Mm,
a good grocery store to go to.
they love their Publix down there. Oh my God, it's
Oh
like a
yeah,
cult.
Publix is like I went in there and like people thought we were from like outer space because we
Yeah.
weren't from there. They're like looking at us like, "What are you guys doing here?" Just getting
Hmm.
some groceries. That's how I feel like every time I walk into like a Gelson's or something.
Yeah, that's we've hit because we've got the Gelson's, Whole Food. We've gone to like all of that. Like I realized that there's like the hierarchy of grocery stores out here, and then we got all the way up to Irwan. We're like, whoa!
I'll never
Like
go shop at Erewhon. That place is fucking ridiculous.
What is it?
It's just
it's
like a high-end grocery store, but it's like they sell like shit that's like that want to make you think like it's like $30 smoothies and shit. It's fucking stupid.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. Like the only thing that I like if I go there sometimes is if you really can't find certain fresh produce, like I might buy a couple pieces of fresh produce if like it doesn't look good in the other surrounding grocery stores. But yeah, otherwise it's just like crazy, ridiculously priced things. And yeah, and then like there's some pre-made stuff, but it's like the what is it, the Haley Bieber smoothie or something. Like they're famous for like these smoothies that celebrities buy because they have infinite disposable income.
Yeah, I'm not a. Everyone's just like, I don't know. Like Whole Foods, I like going shopping at Whole Foods. I think Whole Foods has good product. Like especially like I'm weird when it comes to grocery shopping. Like I'll get like stuff I need at Ralph's, but like if I'm gonna buy like meat, I'll go to Whole Foods. If I'm buying like tortillas, I'm going to the Mexican market because I wanted to have like the good stuff. But
Yeah, good meat is important. I'm sorry, it just you can't just get regular Hannaford meat,
yeah,
in my
absolutely. Like
opinion.
I won't. I like if I'll buy chicken from like Ralph's, but like if I'm gonna buy like steaks or seafood, like I'm gonna go to at least a Whole Foods and go buy stuff. If not, go to the butcher.
Mm, right. And you're from originally what town?
So I grew up in Palmdale. Palmdale is like I would say like an hour and a half from Los Angeles. So my family's still there. Like my parents are still there. My brother's still there. I moved out when I was 21, 20. Came out to LA and I've been here since.
What
I've
was?
been out here for like a solid like 13 years now.
Oh wow, was that is that a small? That's a small town, right?
Yeah, it's pretty small. I mean, like, yeah, it's
Smaller
pretty
than
small.
LA.
It's small, but it's like spread out. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's
Hmm.
not much to do there, but like, because since it's in the desert, like everything's like
Oh
super spread
wow.
out.
Hmm.
Wow, what was that like moving to LA? That's been
I
different.
mean, I would come down here like as a kid. Like, I had like family out here in like Burbank and stuff, so I would always come down here like as a kid with like my parents. But like moving out here was a lot different. I was so used to like the suburban lifestyle. I lived in like North Hollywood for a little bit, which is in the valley, which is maybe like 20 minutes from where I live in Koreatown now. So I liked living in North Hollywood too, because it was like very suburban-ishy. But being in Koreatown is just like a lot different. It's very like Koreatown's very congested, parking's terrible. But like I love Koreatown because like all the food scene over here, like all the bars and places I like to go to are over here, like all the good places I like to go eat are over here. And I'm like centrally located, so kind of like works itself out. And when I moved here, like my rent was like super cheap, so I've been here ever since because I'm rent controlled over here. And if I move, it's gonna be cost me an arm and a leg to like try to move anywhere. And that's what kind of sucks about living in anywhere right now,
Yeah,
is it's impossible to like find a good place to live
so
unless you want to
true.
spend like $2,200 for a one bedroom, and it's like who the fuck is paying that?
Yeah, it's so true.
And it's
Yeah.
everywhere. Like even I've looked in like Maine, and like I'm still gonna pay $1,800. Granted, it's like next to the ocean and everything's nice, but it's like you kind of pick and choose what you pay for.
Yeah, yeah. I'm doing 2,300 here now, and it's a two-bedroom, and I'm like, ugh.
And it's crazy because it's in like you're in Vermont, like a
Yeah,
two-bedroom out there should be like $1,600.
yeah, yeah. It's ridiculous, but but until we stand up and fight for it, they're gonna keep on charging.
I know. And even
Mhm.
like when you go to the grocery store, even going to the grocery store is like crazy now. Like ever since, the pandemic happened, like things have changed so much. Like, I would compare receipts from like, a couple years ago to now, and it's like even getting gas, I'm spending double what I'm getting. I drive a Corolla and it's costing me like $70 to fill up my car.
Yeah, you're right. It is like double everything because I'm looking, I'm like, God, we don't buy that much food, but why is the bill's so high? And yeah, all of these companies taking advantage and saying, oh, inflation, and they just raise their prices and leave it
Ukraine.
that way. Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, a bag of frozen fruit is like $15. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
It's so true. Oh my God. Yeah. I pay like 250 a week for food, which is ridiculous because it's just me and my 6-year-old. But yeah, yeah, that's depressing.
I mean,
That
I'm thankful that like I get to eat like at the restaurant, find
yeah,
food
that's a
and
good
like have
perk.
something like eat, but like even buying stuff just to have at home, it's still $100.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is good. I remember I worked at a restaurant for 2 months. That was at my restaurant. Well, I should say a waiter for 2 months. And I did like the fact that I could eat, but I was a terrible waiter, so I had to go.
I don't think I could ever be a waiter.
It's not fun.
I mean, they make a lot of money, but like I'm nice, but I
Yeah.
hate
I
stupid I hate stupid people.
yeah, I cried in the cooler. Two
I mean,
two
if you're not crying in the cooler, you're not working at a restaurant, man. That's the sacred place where you go to where nobody can hear you, and
Yeah. I
you go in
for
there and vent to yourself for a little bit.
I forgot cream 5 times for this really terrible woman.
And she made you cry. And
I legitimately felt horrible on the fifth time because like she would go, can I get cream? Like this is three, right? And I'd be like, oh right, sorry, ma'am. She's like, it's okay. And I go into the kitchen and somebody distracts me, somebody gives me a salad, somebody says the bread is over there. And then I go, right, right, right. I go out and I get out there and I have food for another table. I look at her and this is four. And I'm like, I'll get it as soon as I go back in the kitchen. And then I walk by her again. I go in, forget one more time. I go out. I gave somebody else something. And I said, okay, I will definitely go get it. Ran, got the cream, ran, brought it back to her, went back in, and I just bawled in the cooler.
I can't believe this is happening to me.
Yeah, like why? This is not my. I do not have the ability to multitask or plan or remember to be a waiter. I was nice, I was friendly, but terrible at food.
you forgot
Um,
everything.
I did. I forgot everything. Yeah, it was horrible.
I would forget it. Like, yeah, I wouldn't be able to keep all of that straight and remember
No.
either. I don't know how they
and
do
there's
it.
so much going on at all times. Like, I mean, I forget stuff too. Like, I'll go into the walk-in and I forget what I go in there for
Yeah.
So
all the time.
that kind of brings that, like, as we're talking about crying in the cooler, right? Like, so I mean, I've never worked in a restaurant, and most of what I know is through like pop culture things. And so, like, I don't know if you've ever watched Bob's Burgers,
Yeah, it's
but
great.
yeah, like, so like they have like the episode where like all the chefs are like heavy drinkers because they're all like super stressed out. And so like that's sort of what I know of restaurant work. And then there's that other show, The Bear, and where like I was reading that some chefs can't even watch it because it's like too realistic of like how stressful it is
I
in a
mean,
restaurant.
to a sense, it's pretty realistic. I mean, like the Bob's Burgers things, like heavy alcoholics. Yeah, that is true. Like a lot of those chefs drink, but a lot of chefs are trying to change that persona now.
Hmm.
Like I used to drink a lot and like I try not to anymore. Like I try to spend more of my time like in the gym or and not at the bar, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like I
I
still
think
drink.
like the question is more of like how do you cope, like, because it is such a high stress environment, how do people try to deal with that and in a better way? I guess like what you're saying then.
I mean, it is like stressful, right? Like, sorry, I hurt my back the other day. Um, it is stressful. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's stressful. Like, dealing with customers or like not, we're not even necessarily dealing with customers, but like, having to do stupid requests or, weird allergies or like, things are running behind. It's like, I don't really cook on the line that much anymore. I do, but like my cooks do that for like are there to do that for us. And like, we just try to like reinforce like positive like reinforcement instead of like yelling and telling them that they're idiots and to hurry the fuck up and like, shit like that. Like, because you can't really talk to people like that now anymore. Like that's how I came up in like a kitchen, right? Like I got screamed at, I got things thrown at me, I got like, talking to like really stern, like, but I tried to like change that like culture now. Like it's like we're trying to change that culture. Like, the heavy drinking and it's like, yeah, do we drink? Like, will I have like a beer after work or something? Absolutely. But like, I'm not going out like getting hammered every single night. Like, most people think that like all chefs do.
But yeah, I think that's the, like, if you've never worked in a kitchen, you see that all in the media. That's that's your frame of reference,
Yeah,
right?
I mean the cooks do go out 100%, but like I try to like not do that, because I'm there for so long. I get there, I'm there for like 12 to 13 hours a day, so like being hung over every day is just not healthy. And it's like it just deteriorates at you. Like after for doing it so long, it's like I'd just rather not do that.
I've
Like I
never
said,
seen I've never seen those two before, but I did see Ratatouille. And
I mean,
Oh
it's a
yeah,
good
we were
movie.
just we were just talking about that. Yeah.
you didn't see Ratatouille?
Ratatouille is great.
Yeah, okay. How accurate is that? Besides the talking rat.
I mean, it was good. I thought it was really good, honestly. Like Ratatouille is like a great movie.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I love that movie.
I mean, the Bear was a good show. Like,
Hmm.
do I think it's like super like on point? Not really. Like,
Okay.
but like it's pretty close.
But you know what you just reminded me of when you were talking about getting yelled at when you were coming up? Like, so I'm a writer and a journalist, and it's similar, like where I can remember when I was first learning, an editor would just scream at you, like just tell you that like this was trash, like your writing was trash, and like, yeah, you're just like in the bathroom, like, should I still be doing this? And
Yeah, like what the fuck is this? Like,
yeah, and now like you're right, like you can't talk to people, like I've managed people and I never do that. I would just never do that to a young writer or editor, and it's just funny the like, I guess the abuse that was accepted,
yeah,
in older
literally,
generations. Yeah.
like getting yelled at. Like, there's been countless times where I've like walked off the line and like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. Oh man, I've never been yelled at really in a job. I think
And
I
it's like I just
steer
kind of took
clear.
it, just like continue to like move on. Like I didn't let it affect me. Like I think that's why like I let it affect me at first, and then like at the time I was just like, okay, okay. And I
Yeah,
think
you
that pissed
kind
them
of
off
have
more because I
to.
would just, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that pissed them off more because I would just say, okay, like what else do you want me to say? Like you want me to fucking like
Yeah.
fire back at you? Like it doesn't really matter. It's not gonna solve anything. So I just say, okay, just move on.
Yeah. That's good that you can do that. Don't take it personally. Just be like, this guy's having a conniption.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
that's what I tell all the
I
kids now. Like I just like tell them, it's like if you're getting yelled at, it's like or something happens, and I'll just stay okay and just move on. Like don't let it affect you. Like shit happens.
Yeah, I had to learn that too, with like, because otherwise I would have just quit. I would have just been like, you're terrible, and quit. Like if you internalize all that. So then I just had to go, okay, like you just got to keep trying, keep working at it, and just don't take it personally. And yeah, and then I just was like, I am not going to treat young people like that when I manage them, and I haven't. So
Yeah, you want to like I'm more like I want to teach now, it's like the food and everything is great and like, learning new stuff and like doing all that, but like being able to teach now and like being able to like you want to see like your cooks grow, like you want to teach them well and you want to whatever they do after you want them to have the skills to go do, like whether if they leave with like, cleaning their station better or better knife skills or better communication skills, like to prepare them for the next thing. Like that's what I strive for now is just to make them better.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
can you explain, like, for people that are not at all familiar with the kitchen, like what's the dynamic and the operation there? Because you're talking about line cooks versus chef, and can you kind of break some of that down for people that
I mean,
don't know?
we're all cooks, right? Like, at the end of the day, we're all cooks. But like, there is like the hierarchy. It's like, the head chef and like the CDC, the sous chef, whatever, and then you have your line cooks. Me and Joel get to the restaurant, around 11, 12, depends. And yeah, the prep guys are there. We'll oversee most of the prep a little bit with them, but like we're doing all the background work. Like we're doing all the R&D for all the new dishes. We're doing all the admin work. We're writing recipes. We're, you know, doing labor costs and food costs and inventory and like all the back end stuff that they don't do is like what we do. Like the cooks get there at 3, they set up their stations, like they know what pickups they have on their station and they just produce all night as opposed to we're like dealing with management and we have to do tastings for owners and we have our culinary director that we have to do stuff for and it's just like different. It's just a lot different. Like once you become a salaried chef, you're the most responsibilities just like you just keep getting piled and
But
piled and piled on.
you still cook though, right?
Yeah, I mean I
Okay.
cook, but like I'm not like I don't actively cook on the line every night.
Oh wow. So you're like a line manager almost, like
I guess like I'm usually expediting most of the night.
hmm, like a
Um,
captain.
yeah, exactly.
Neat.
So like I cook, like if I need to be on the line, I'll be on the line and like help plate and help cook. But like the majority of my cooking is like doing prep work or like doing like R&D and like working on new dishes. That's the majority of the cooking that I'm doing now. But like on the line, like I'll do it like maybe once a week if I need to. But like I don't really do it that often on the line anymore. Things
Hmm.
change when you start getting higher up. Like you would think like the head chef is on the line cooking all the time. He's not.
Hmm. So you like make your own recipe and then like have like a session where you like teach everyone what it is, or did they just look at a paper that you write or
So like when we do R&D and like we like I don't write anything down really until like I'll write stuff down, but like I won't like gram out and like write an official recipe until I know we're gonna like it's gonna go on the menu.
hmm.
Like I write stuff down, like I'll write what I'm putting in it, and just so I when I go back to it, like I know what I put into it. Because I there's always so much I'll forget, but like so I'll write that down. I won't write like uh 50 grams of this or 60 grams of that or whatever until like I know I'm gonna like write this recipe. It needs to be like perfect.
Hmm.
But once our dishes like we get everything approved from ownership when we get them to tastings, then we'll teach everybody how to do it. But I'm not going to teach everybody how to do some stuff if it's not going to go on the menu. If they want to learn and they want to like be there on their own time and like learn and like come in, I'm all for it. But like uh yeah, our R&D sessions are just like we'll let them try stuff like if we make the food like here try this I want other people's opinions, but we won't teach any of them until we're actually like ready to go live with like stuff on the new menu.
So, what is it like? You work for a pretty high-end establishment. What is it like to design a menu or to create dishes for really high-end clientele?
Um, Honestly, it's kind of difficult because we don't get to just do whatever we want. We have to give like tastings to like our owners and like our culinary director, and like they kind of think they know what everybody wants when they don't. But it's like
Oh.
it just is what it is, like I'm not gonna fight back. Like it just the energy there is too much to try to fight back and like push it is just like too much, and like they just don't want to listen sometimes. But like they enjoy it. Like I think what's cool is like, all these people like, a lot of I want to say a lot of people that have money eat like children.
Oh, that's interesting. Please
Uh,
expand.
I mean, they want like chicken nuggets and like, you know, French fries and burgers and which I don't mind, which is great, right? But like they're so set in their ways. Like, our restaurant isn't like a culinary destination. It's like, it's a private club and they go there to go hang out and like do business meetings or whatever. It's like a place that they can go and they're not going to get bothered. But like, it's not like a culinary destination. As to where like the Wallace is like, we would do whatever we want. We change the menu every 3 weeks. We would, or Prim and Proper, we change the menu every 2 or 3 weeks because it was a destination. We wanted to keep pushing the boundaries and like keep expanding and doing new things. But like here, it's like, some of the things like, the chicken littles, like the chicken nugget, it'll never change. Some of the stuff like it'll never change because that's what they want. So it's like we have to kind of pick and choose our battles of like, what we want to change and what we're going to put on the menu and what's going to work for this clientele. Because like I said, like some of them like they're excited like about the new food and the new stuff to go on the menu, but some of them like come in order the same thing every time, burger, nothing but meat and cheese and bun. Like I'm like cool, like I get it, like you can do whatever you want, but like it's just like boring.
So interesting because I feel like if I had a ton of money, I would want to try all different things. Like I don't want to eat a burger and like the perception I think is that like people that have money are spending it on like exquisite meals. So that's interesting to hear.
I mean, like it's like when we do put new stuff out, they enjoy it. Like they enjoy it, but like for instance, like we have this pasta on the menu. It's a shrimp scampi, and it's like, we make squid ink, like bucatini pasta. So it's like it's black, but like it tastes really good, and like the flavors are all really good, but it doesn't get orders as much as I would like it to be because I think people are so perceptive of like, oh, the pasta's black or whatever. It's gonna be weird, but it's really really good, and I wish like it sold more. Like, if we do like hyper seasonal stuff, like I just don't think they understand, like from our perspective, you know what I'm saying? They never were really like about the seasons. Like they just eat whatever they want because they have access to it whenever they want. And I think that's like with food in general, like and a lot of people don't think like that. They're like, oh, a tomato is a tomato, but like a tomato in season is like not just a tomato.
Mhm.
Corn
Yeah.
in season is not just corn. Squash in season is not just like squash. Like these are all delicious things that like you don't really have to do much to for it to be really good.
Yeah, I love a good seasonal menu. It's probably because I used to grow produce, so you have to pay attention to the seasons and the growing seasons depending on where you live. So I like to order things seasonally.
Yeah, same. And it's like, like we're getting into fall and winter and like, you want squashes and chicories and bitter greens and radicchio and like, pomegranate and pears and, kale and all those like really good things and stews. And
Mhm.
it's, we've been in like this tough battle. It was like, oh, we need like lighter fare. And I'm like, well, we're getting into like fall season now. So it's like lighter fares, like I understand. And, they try to like genderize food and like, we want something more feminine. And like, I don't understand what that means.
How do you genderize food?
Like stuff that's like lighter and like more feminine for a woman to eat. But I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean?
This burger identifies.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I
That's
mean, I
weird.
think it depends on the person, right? Like somebody and your mood. Like sometimes you might want to eat light fare, sure, but that's not a gender thing. That's a
Well,
like,
there's
personal preference, I
there's
guess.
like that Sex in the City kind of woman that really loves that show, and I can see them sitting down and going, I want to be able to take a picture of this and put it on my Instagram, and my 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 brand is very pink. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I'm
Yeah, I mean, like,
really
we
trying here.
all of our food, like we present it nicely, like, so they can take a picture of it. Like, everything should be presented and plated very nicely. But like, like you're not gonna go to any restaurant right now or going into fall season and find, light salads all over the place. It's gonna be like, heavy bitter greens and like roasted squashes and like pork and potatoes and just because that's what you get in the winter. That's what you're getting in the fall and winter time.
Well, as someone that eats the same thing every time whenever they goes to a restaurant, I will explain it. It's very simple. When I have a hamburger from downstairs, it's called McGillicuddy's. It is like heaven every time I have that hamburger. And I do not want to risk $20 on something that even slightly less awesome. And it's like that's pretty much it in a nutshell for me, is like every time I have that burger, it's like the first time ever. It's just so good. And
And that's
so,
what I feel about In-N-Out. I love In-N-Out.
oh, there you go. Never been, but
So
Me too.
although I wonder now with like climate change and growing seasons and weather shifting, right? Like we're talking about like it's gonna be cool, but it might not be in some cases. So do you think that's gonna shift menus and
I
things in
mean,
the
you'll
future?
probably see like summer stuff later, like going on later in like the fall months, like if it's still warm and we're still getting really good tomatoes, like we'll use them, but like, you know, j- cherries go so quick, like we have like cherries are like 2 months, even though it's still warm, like I can't really get cherries anywhere right now. Like sweet corn is like very specific in like the months that are going on. Like now it's like hard for me to get sweet corn. So like that's why we have to change our menu now. It's like, okay, corn's going out of season, tomatoes will go out of season here soon. So it's like let's start working on stuff because like all the squat, like if you go to the farmer's market, you'll start to see like things change, you'll start to see to me, you'll see tomatoes, but they're not going to be like it's not going to be every stand is going to have tomatoes. You're going to see zucchinis and squashes and like all the hard like root vegetables, parsnips and carrots and all that coming out now.
that's
But it
interesting.
just really depends. Like, like this year, which was kind of crazy, like stone fruit wasn't that good. Like the peaches all year were not that good.
Well, I guess
So I'm
that's the difference between a high end restaurant and other restaurants, because a lot of restaurants around here, you go in and they have the same menu pretty much all the time, and you'll notice, hey, maybe you should have skipped this one this time because like the tomatoes look green and like, and it's, yeah. So like, but at a fine restaurant, you go, well, if an ingredient isn't good, we're going to move on and go to some, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we'll change it. We try to change our menu like every 2 months, to
Wow.
keep up with like, just to keep up with like produce and everything. And it's exciting for us because we get to like do new things instead of being stagnant and doing the same thing all the time. Like I think doing that is boring. Like I would never like I've never worked in like at like a BJ's or like a CBK where the menu's the same all the time. Like that just is fucking boring. And I think I probably wouldn't have like cooking, like it wouldn't have like been exciting, like working with new, like when I was a cook, and we would get new menu items and everything. It was exciting because you're learning about something. And I think I try to do the same. Like I try to change my menu all the time. So it's like the cooks don't get bored and they get to learn something new. They get to try new things and like it keeps them excited. And I think that's what I love for us. Like even though like we don't get to do like a lot of the things that we want to, we still do fun enough stuff to where we can keep our cooks interested and like, because it's hard too, because it is a private members club. So we can't have our friends and family come in. We can't have like those people that we care about come in and try everything. So we kind of mostly have to do it for us. And for us, I mean like, keeping our cooks excited to want to cook good food, even though they can't have their loved ones come and experience it. I want them to be proud of what they're doing.
Which
So
I actually I feel like I didn't until I like lived in LA. I didn't realize like when I was living in Baltimore and DC, I guess I just didn't encounter restaurants that like changed their menu seasonally, like because a lot of that stuff is chain, they're all chain stores, and so it's all gonna be the same thing. But I think like what I like most about out here, like there's several restaurants within walking distance that they regularly change with the season. And I'm like, oh, this is exciting. Like, what are the new menu
yeah,
items that I can try, especially if I like the place? It's really nice.
yeah, it's really good. And like, I would say that Los Angeles is like so far ahead of its time, like with food, like, and what I mean by that is like, you go out to like you said, it's like a lot of chains and everything, right? Like Baltimore and DC, but like restaurants are changing out there now. Like every city has like a good restaurant. Like chefs are leaving LA to go to like all these untapped markets in all these cities. Like you go to Nashville or whatever, like all these really good places are popping up now. And it's not just LA, but a lot of the chefs are coming from, Los Angeles or New York or like bigger like metropolitan cities that are going to these smaller towns and like doing fun stuff. Um, and like LA is like so far ahead of its time, like with just the culture that we have here. And same thing with New York, but it's different, right? Like you go to New York, like here it's like a lot of Italian, but like you go to New York, it's like, there's a lot of Russian and there's a lot of, influence over there from like other parts of the world, right? Like here it's like in LA, it's like you have a little bit of everybody, but a lot of our influence comes from down south. A lot of Mexican ingredients, a lot of Japanese, Korean, uh, Vietnamese. Like even if you go to like the South, like everybody thinks Southern food is just like meat and potatoes, but like if you really go into depth with the history, there's a lot of Lebanese and Vietnamese immigrants that went to the South, and that's where they get a lot of the flavors. Like that's why they use like a lot of fish sauce and a lot of like herbs, and like you'll look at like a lot of places, like you'll see a lot of pates and everything too, and like all that is French. So it just depends. Like now it's like, you go to like Maine, the restaurants out there are like really, really good. Like all these places are starting to pop up now. As if you went there like 5 years ago, like it would be such a different scene, it'd just be like the mom and pop shop diners. And like LA, we're so far ahead because we're like it's always evolving. And you go eat at like a nice restaurant in Ohio, like you can tell by like just the plating, like they're still a couple years behind. But like everything's still really, really good. It's just like not as refined as like you would see here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I grew up on kibbeh because half my family is Lebanese, and that's an acquired taste. I don't know if I could still eat it.
I love like Pakistani and like Lebanese and like Indian. Like I love all that kind of food. Like biryani is like one of my favorite things to eat.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
It's just like a meat and rice dish, like like a lot of heavy spices.
Oh,
but
okay.
it's like saffron and anise and cinnamon and pepper, and it's all really, really good. Like there's this local place by my house called Biryani Kebab House, and they've been there for a long time. It's just like this hole in the wall shop, and like they just got written about by Eater, and I'm like, great.
Mhm.
Like there goes like my local mom and pop place, you know what I'm saying? But it's really good. Like I go there, like their garlic naan is really good. Their samosas are really good. And like everything is really good. And like the owners are always there all the time. They always see me come in. They're like, "Oh, try this, try this."
You were
And I get
on
the
a
same thing every time.
you were on a Netflix show, is that right?
Yeah, I did cooking with cannabis.
Right, right. Oh man, that's Vermonters will want to hear about that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We filmed that back in like 2019 and it aired
Hmm.
in 2020, like right when the pandemic like happened. I feel like things like it would have been like different. Like I probably would have went down that route a little bit more with like all that with the winning and everything, like being like it being so popular, but like you couldn't really do anything at that time, you know, like everyone was like, "Oh, I want to do a private dinner now." And I'm like, "Yeah, probably not going to do that for a while, but um but it was fun. Like the show was fun. I was on the first episode. I won the first episode. I was kind of shocked that I won, honestly.
Really? Why?
I mean, I wasn't shocked. Like the other girl that I was, one of them was one of the girls that I was competing against. I was like, I already knew it wasn't like gonna happen for her. And like not saying that, but like she was just like all over the place and wasn't like, I had a plan when I got there. I knew what I wanted to do, and like, um, and when they announced that I won, I was like, that's pretty tight. I mean, the money's great and everything, but I was like, it was cool. Like it was kind of just solidified. I was like, all right, yeah, like this is what I should be doing.
Yeah, how it must be, given like that LA is such a food scene, it must be really competitive to like get on things like that, get noticed. Like, can you talk about that? Like how hard is it for you to break in, and like what was your
I
journey
mean,
like?
it's hard to break in. Like you honestly really just have to put yourself out there. Honestly, like it's about putting yourself out there. Like if you don't put yourself out there, then like you're not gonna like break in. Like when I did the show, like I got reached out to by like the casting producers and everything. Like I get reached out to a lot, like if I would be interested to do like Chopped or something like that. And like I like doing TV. I think it's a lot of fun. Um, but like I'm more focused on like TV's fun. Like it's great. Like but Chopped, like I think Chopped would be fun. I would rather do like something. I would rather do like guys grocery games or something because I think that would be like a lot of fun. Um, but like getting recognized, like it's really just about putting yourself out there. You have to have like confidence in just like what you do and like your food. Like if you're not proud of what you're doing or confident what you're doing, like you're gonna like not succeed. But you just have to be confident in yourself and put yourself out there. Like doing a pop-up and like putting yourself out there for the world to like or the people who are coming to try your food, like it's stressful, it's hard because you want them to like it. You're not going to be able to please everybody. Somebody's not going to like something. But like it's really just like putting yourself out there in all honesty. Like, and I think that goes for anything, like whether you're cooking or you want to be an actor, or whether you want to like do this or that. And it's really just about putting yourself out there. Because if you don't, and like if you don't, then you don't know what's going to happen. But you have to take that chance on yourself. And like that's the hardest part, like doing pop-ups. Like when I was doing pop-ups, like I didn't know if it was, I thought everything was good, but I don't know what anybody else is gonna think, like, and it's just about putting yourself out there. If it sucks, then it's like you go back to the drawing board. But like, if you're really committed and like you're passionate about what you do, it can only be good, at least in, our eyes. And like I think that that's all it really that matters. Like, you can't take the negative comments from like one or two people and be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, it's like it's all about like having confidence in yourself. It's really just, like I said, putting yourself out there is like the most important thing. And like just doing, like you don't know what's gonna happen unless you do it.
Have you had an experience like a lot of people, like comedians, actors, all these different people that put themselves and their art out there have like this bombing experience that's like crushing? Have you had something like that, or it's been relatively okay? And if you have, how did you move past that?
I mean, it's been relatively okay. Like I never like I've always like every time I want to do something, I always like have a bunch of people try it first, like Joel, like honestly, like, since we R&D a lot, like he does some of the pop-ups with me, and like I'll make sure we try everything before we like put it out there. And like I make sure like like I want to make sure it's at least as perfect as possible before I put it out there. I've never like bombed or like had anything like bad happen. Um, so that's great. But I mean, I have failed on some things, and just not publicly. Uh, so I think that's like what the whole R&D process and all that for us is like getting it right before you put it out there. Because you don't want to bomb, because like then you like if you do bomb, like say you do a pop-up, right, and everything's just really bad, like no one's gonna want to go back. Like they're gonna that first experience that you give somebody is what's gonna make them want to come back or not. So it's really like fine tuning and dialing it in, and like making sure everything you do on the back end is perfect before you put it out there.
Yeah,
And sometimes it could be perfect, but like other people might not think that. But I
yeah.
think if you try hard enough and like have a good personality, you're energetic, you're positive, like
Hmm.
you know, people aren't gonna remember like the one bad dish that they had. They're gonna remember like the good experience that they had, and they're gonna want to come back. But if everything's just bad like throughout, no one's gonna want to come back.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know, like on Facebook, I always seem to hear the negative reviews more than I hear positive reviews. Maybe that's just the area. I don't know, but like I'm always like, have you had like 10 good meals at that place and now you're just saying this, and now you're giving them a bad press? Like, is that cool? Like, I always think that's strange. Like, why the one negative, really negative review?
Because
Just
people think
seems.
that their word matters.
I guess,
Everyone
yeah.
wants to put their 2 cents in. Like I think Yelp is like the worst thing that happened to like the culinary industry in like
Mm,
a very long time.
that's
Yeah, you're right. Because if I'm looking for a place to eat and I go to Yelp and you see a ton of bad reviews, I might love the place, right? But then, like, there's already a bias. So then maybe I'm not going to go because I've seen all these negative
hmm.
reviews on
Exactly.
there.
Like everybody thinks that like they're a food critic now.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess there's like, sure, if you like something or you don't, that's your personal preference, right? Like, you don't have to go back there and eat it if you don't like it. Uh, but yeah, I get you're not a food critic.
I
You
mean,
just know
like
what
people
you like.
people will put dumb shit on there too, like, oh, the water wasn't cold enough, I'm not going back. And I'm like that's like the stupidest thing ever. Like, what does that even mean? But it like, it just people are just like they want to have their voice heard, but and it's like their voice is being heard by bashing on other people, like bashing on something else,
Yeah, I don't like bad reviews. I think they're almost always pointless because like a waiter, what if they were having a horrible day? What if they're amazing all the time and today was the day they broke up with their partner or their dog died or something? Just Jesus. I think
Yeah,
give something 3 bad times, then write a review. But one is never a reason.
exactly. Like what's funny is like I'm never one to like send anything back, right? Unless it's like bad. And like, like the food could be like subpar, but if the waiter like the experience is really well, then like I'll probably go back. It just depends. It really just depends.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
I don't send things back unless like my worst nightmare is a hair in food. Like that just like makes me want to throw up on
Oh
sight.
yeah, if I got
So,
hair in my food, I would definitely be sending it back. But
yeah.
like if it's under seasoned or like it's like kind of bland, I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna send this back. Like I'll just like I'll eat it. Like, it happens. It happens sometimes.
I get my burger to go because I live upstairs, and if I find a hair, I'll just pull it out and move on.
Oh no, no. I can't. I don't even like my own loose hair. Like when it falls into like my food, I'm just like, oh,
All in
this
your
is
mind.
horrifying.
It's all in your mind.
So it's not yours, Jason. So that
Yeah,
makes it
definitely not
worse.
mine.
Yeah.
I've never had that experience where I've had like found hair in my food. I've definitely found like actually maybe one time I've had like hair in my food, but it was like an eyelash, and I was like, is that mine or is that
Oh
from
my god.
someone else?
An eyelash does
Oh,
sound worse
yes.
for some reason. I don't know
I
why.
know it's not like, ugh. Yeah, any sort of hair and anything is just,
Well, like a really long one though that like comes out of the food. You have to like tug to get it out and stuff.
Oh yeah, I would definitely like. I wouldn't be doing that if that happened. Like you're pulling
yeah.
like a strand of hair out of like your lip or something. I'm just like, yeah, it's not gonna do that.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
oh, Jason, the things that I learn about you throughout the course of the show.
My manners in a restaurant are terrible. I went on the QE2 when I was a kid on our way to Europe. And there was this, I remember his name still. He was our waiter named Simon. And we were sitting either at the captain's table or at the extended captain's table. And my cousin was done her steak clearly, but she still had steak left and it was across the thing. And my aunt looked at me and she went, no, 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 no. I was like, so finally, like, I kept on putting a fuss. I wanted the rest of her steak so bad. And so Simon came over and my aunt goes, he would like the rest of her steak. Is there something we can do about that? And he just grabbed her plate and plopped it in front of me and said, there you go. And then left. I'm like, that's what I was gonna do. And but we were so afraid because we had gotten trained to go on the ship. But my aunt wanted us to like learn how to do it. Like so we had all this like instructions and stuff, and that wasn't in the instructions at all to just grab a plate. But yeah, etiquette.
I grew up on going to like buffets a lot. Like we would go,
Mm.
my parents like we would go out to Laughlin or like Vegas a lot, and like we'd always like I'd always want to go to the buffet.
Oh yeah,
I fucking loved going to like the
buffets.
buffet at the casinos. It was awesome.
Yeah, I agree completely. Buffets are the
I
best.
can't tell you the last time like I went to
I grew up going to Sizzler. Like that was like an exciting thing. Like sometimes we get to go to Sizzlers and they had the whole buffet. And like I also grew up Jewish and you weren't allowed to have like the ham or bacon. And I'd go and grab something. Ooh, I'm gonna grab some like contraband because it's in the buffet and you nobody's watching me.
Sizzler, man. I can't tell you the last time I went to a Sizzler.
So
Just so you know, we're over the hour mark, and I do not know how much time we were going to go for here. It says to be announced, and apparently we never got it announced. But want to be respectful of your time, so that's why I took a look.
I mean, I'm chilling right now. I'm not really like doing much.
Okay, that's cool. I
all
just
right.
wanted to make sure. Because I didn't know, and I didn't want you to be like, dude, what's going on here? Okay,
Oh
cool.
no, I'm not. I'm off today, so I'm not like.
Oh, nice. All right, cool.
I'm off today. Like after I'm done here with you guys, it's just gym, grocery store, laundry.
Okay, so then let's tackle a couple of more of these questions then that we have.
Yeah.
Um, what's your favorite cuisine to cook?
Oh, I mean, it depends. Like honestly, like I said, like I'm like at home, super basic, but like at the restaurant, like I don't know, I do like I pull a lot of influence from like my Spanish side. I like using like a lot of chili pet like dried chilies and like I cook a lot of Mexican food. But I like everything like Mediterranean, like Indian, like there's not like one specific cuisine that I like really enjoy cooking. Like I like to pull flavors from things that I like, you know, when I'm thinking of a recipe, like, oh, I want to do this, but I'll look up different things and be like, oh, I like this, or I like this, or I like this. And like I'll kind of just like put itself together on my own. Um, but if I'm like thinking like, you know, if we're like thinking of new dishes, it's like, okay, like this Japanese like dish looks really good. What if we use like these like Mexican peppers or something like that just to like change it or make it different? Um, but if like cuisine wise, like I don't know, I cook a lot of Italian food too. Like I don't know, at
My
home it's just
fave.
yeah, what's not to like, but like Italian food in a sense where it's like, you know, like yes, the other day I made tacos, right? But it wasn't like I didn't just do like salsa and chicken. It was, you know, I did like sumac like crusted, you know, steak and made like mint salsa verde and pickled red onions and feta cheese and you know, harissa crema instead of like, you know, stuff like that. So it's like just kind of like pulling those flavors and putting into different things. So it's not like necessarily one cuisine. Like I'm not just gonna cook Italian food or like red sauce stuff, you know, like
Hmm.
You know, how can we make lasagna different? That's how I think. Like, how can we make this different?
I'll tell you. On St. Patrick's Day, my grandmother put green food dye in her noodles, and nobody ate the lasagna.
You know what's funny is I do that all the time, but I don't put green food dye. It's like I'll do like spinach puree, and we'll make the noodles green, especially for like springtime or something like spinach like pasta is good. I did a lasagna with like spinach, like
Yeah,
those were green, but like everything else was good. Like the flavor was good though. Like you saw the layers, it was like green, red, white, the bolo and everything. Like it's good. Honestly,
yeah,
lasagna, like I think lasagna is best when you have to cook it, let it set, right? So you can pull it out, portion it. But I think lasagna is best is when you sear it really hard on one side and make it super crispy. Flip it over, then you add your sauce and let it finish cooking. But like that initial crispy like sear on it, it's so fucking good.
oh yeah, that
It's
does sound
so
good.
good. Because then like the noodles like getting crispy, like it's so fun. Like you get all these different textures, right? And that's what I'm big on too. I'm really big on texture. Like I need textures in my food. I can't just like have one thing that's like soft. Like sushi, yeah, it's different because the flavor is really good. But like I can't. I need like crispy and soft and crunchy and like I need texture.
Yeah, I always burn the outside of my hamburger on purpose.
Flat top burgers are delicious. Like
Yeah,
seared burger on a flat top, it's delicious.
yeah.
And then that's like a big thing now. Like everywhere, like smash burgers are like the thing right now. Everybody wants to make smash burgers.
What's a smash burger?
It's basically just taking a patty, like instead of like a traditional patty, right? You're gonna put a ball like right on top of like a flat top and you smash it down.
That's what I
So
do.
yeah, like you put the ball, yeah, like you
Look at
smash it
you.
down so it gets like
Look
nice
at
and
her.
crispy on one side,
Yeah,
flip it over, like and it's like very thin, like super thin.
I don't smash it, but I, I mean, like what? I don't. I just squish it down really. So what's the diff? Why would you smash it? Like, is that just
It's just to
fun?
get all it's to get all like that crispy like texture, you know what I'm saying?
So you
Like
want it flat, in other words.
yeah, flat and
Okay,
like some people like smash onions into it.
I do. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, it's delicious.
I'm a see. I'm
Um
a cook. I didn't know it.
Yeah, that's like the thing right now in LA is like smash burgers. There's smash burger joints everywhere.
Hmm.
I like smash burgers. Honestly, I like an old school like steakhouse burger too though. Like
Yeah.
I like going to institutions like that, like establishments, like the older ones.
Hmm.
I like going to like old school steakhouses. Like there's this place by my house I go to all the time. And I know it's like changed since they opened, but it's called the Prince. And they've been there since 1927. And like some of the like the decor and like inside, I know it's like the same. I know it's been revamped, because nothing's gonna stay the same for 100 years. But like it's all Korean, it's all Korean food and it's fucking awesome.
Hmm.
And it's so good. And they've been there for so long. Like I like going to establishments like that have been there for 100 years or 85 years or whatever. Like there's this other place by my house called HMS Bounty, and they've been there for like 50, 60 years, and you can tell that like the people there work there for a long time. And it's amazing because like, you go there enough, the people start to learn your name, they start to learn what you like. I go there and they're, Coors Banquet and a shot of mezcal, and I'm like, exactly what I want.
Awesome.
Like everything there is so good. Like you don't expect it to be really good, right? You just expect it to be what it is, but like everything is good. Like, like they have like chicken piccata on the menu or like their with their wings or whatever. Like they do specials and like it's not like the best cuts of meat, but like you go there and you get like their like steak sandwich, like it's delicious. And it's the experience of going there. Like they open up at noon, and if you want to be a real degenerate and go drink at noon and like go have like, something from HMS, you can. There's like a little something for everybody there. And that's what I love about it. You don't go there expecting like the French Laundry. You go there expecting just something delicious.
Yeah.
Like they have a Caesar salad there, which is amazing. Like it's super anchovy forward. Like, and it's fucking good. Like it's good.
Wow. When you have you ever what's the longest recipe that takes the most time that you've ever done? Like my dad would cook rigatoni and meatballs, and it would take all day long.
That's a good point.
I mean, I mean, braises they take long. Like I'll do things like that take time, but I try like especially in the restaurant, like if it's like a process, like we'll start it days ahead, right? Like curing pork belly and making pork belly, right? You want to cure it for 24 hours and all the spices. Then you braise it. Like our pork belly is like a 2-day process. Cure, braise, press, portion. So like the curing is a 24-hour process, especially like when we do ribs, right? Um, we can do ribs traditionally. Like I have this really nice oven. I can steam them and do it like that. And like it's still going to take a long time. But I just use a circulator, sous vide machine, and I'll vac seal them in like all their spices and like pull all the air out, and I'll put it in a water bath. So that's what basically a sous vide machine is. It's like it's a controlled temperature water bath. Like you set it to 150 degrees, it's not going to go past that point. So I'll cook ribs at 145 degrees for 24 hours.
Wow.
So they get really nice and tender, and like
Wow.
they
Yeah.
literally fall off the bone. And like the way we cook them is like you would never like think it like you would think we would take the rib and put it on the grill and put it in barbecue sauce. Like I'll cut them off. I cut them like I'll portion them and I fucking deep fry them. And like they're crispy on the outside and so soft and like luxurious on it. It's fucking delicious. Toss them in a little barbecue sauce. It's really good.
Oh
Um,
wow.
but like
Never gonna
processed like
know.
stuff like like my pizza dough that I make, like it's a 2-day. I let it ferment for 2 days
Hmm.
to like build up all that fermentation and like you know um all the air bubbles and everything. Like pizza dough is like I like making bread. Bread takes a long time. But I do enjoy it. Like I've been working on this pizza dough recipe for the last like couple weeks because we don't really like have a pizza oven in our restaurant, but this is what the owners want. So I'm like trying to figure something out. And it's more so R&D for myself as well too. So once I have this recipe down, it's in my back pocket for when I go do my other things. Because like things like that, like I won't write the recipe down and I'm not going to give it to him. Like I'll be the one that's making it every single time.
Hmm.
And like if we leave, like I'll give him like some form of it, but I'm not going to give him like the whole thing. But like I like using beer in my pizza dough because I think it like complements like all the wheat and everything that's in there. So I'll put beer like the dough that I'm doing now, like it's like 30% like of the whole thing is like it's wheat flour, like really good wheat flour. So to complement that, I'll use like a pale ale, like that's very malty and weedy and like that like has that like flavor of fermentation. So when it sits and ferments for like 2 days, like I'll pop like one of the gas, like the air bubbles that are on top of it, and like all the gases will come out, and it smells so good. Like you can smell the fermentation happening inside of the bread and like what the beer is actually doing for the wheat. And that's why like, I like to use like and like baking pizza dough is like it seems simple, right? But it's like about sourcing the right ingredients. If you have really good flour, you have really good beer, and if you take the time to like take care of it, it can only be good. Like I source flour from Oregon right now because it's locally milled, locally grown. I'd rather pay for that than like stuff that's being mass produced. I'd rather spend the 60, $70 on 25 pounds of flour and have it shipped for, it's $100 for a bag of flour, right? It seems expensive, but like, you know, that $100 bag of flour is going to give you, a couple $1,000 worth of product, because you're not going through so much. But I'd rather source and support locally than like buy like commercially grown stuff. I'd rather spend the extra money on that because it's going to be better. Especially like, when I'm getting it's even coffee, like, I $8 for a coffee, but it's fine. I'd rather do that than go to Starbucks.
Yeah.
I'd rather support the local coffee shop down the street for me and help watch them succeed and grow than go to Starbucks. Because you're basically going there for the cup. I'd rather buy 7-Eleven coffee than Starbucks coffee.
I don't like
I actually
Starbucks.
hate, yeah, I hate Starbucks. And I'm like, I don't put any sweetener or anything in my coffee anyway. So I mean, most of the time I just make it and drink cold black coffee at home. But if I do get it out, I always go to like the unique, like there's a bunch of little tiny coffee shops around. And so I'm like, why would I ever go to Starbucks when you can go to all these neat places?
Yeah, exactly. Like especially where you guys are in West Hollywood, like there's a lot of like cool coffee shops over there. There's this one called Dayglow that's on Santa Monica and Hunter, I believe. It's like right over there. Like there used to be like a Sprouts over there. I think if you know what I'm talking about. They
Hmm.
just closed that Sprouts right there that's on La Cienega.
Yeah.
But it's like right over there, and Dayglow is like really good coffee. It's like all these Australian dudes that like opened up this coffee shop. My buddy Zen actually has an ice cream store inside of there. It's called A1.
Oh,
And it's like all it's like it's vegan ice cream, but like it's fucking good. Like you wouldn't tell that it's like you wouldn't know that it's like vegan, right? You can look them up on Instagram. Um,
I need to go try that because actually, like, I love cheese, but my stomach does not. So, like, I probably should be vegan for the sake of, so I just stop eating ice cream and certain things because if your body doesn't like it, it just doesn't. So that sounds amazing to
it's
me to
it's
be able to
it's
like
really
have
good,
ice
and like
cream.
you wouldn't think that it's vegan, right? Like, 'cause I think he uses like coconut, and like he gets like really good like vanilla bean from uh from overseas and everything, and like it's fucking good. Like you would never know unless like somebody told you. Like they said, like there's this place by my house called Open Market. It's a small little sandwich shop, and they sell like pints of his ice cream there. But you can go there and like get scoops, and like the menu, like he's always changing things. Like he has like the staple ice creams, but like when it comes to the seasons, he's changing all the gelatos to like seasonal stuff, and it's so good. It's so good.
I love gelato. Yeah, I went to years ago with my youngest brother. We went to Italy and we hit a few different spots and we just ate so much gelato.
Oh yeah, in Rome I ate so much gelato. Like that's what it is. Like you're walking around Rome and every little street corner or whatever, it's like there's gelato shops where it's just like there's endless places to go eat pasta there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
we
think
had
go
okay.
ahead.
Oh, so we had the squid ink pasta that you were talking about in Venice, like the black pasta there, and it was really good.
It's good. People are just like so perceptive because it's black, it's different color.
Yeah.
You can't really taste like the squid ink in the pasta, right? Like it's just
No, it was,
all for color. You're not gonna be like, oh, this is so fishy. Like it's all there for color. But people are just like, oh my God, it's black. I can't do this.
no, yeah, it was delicious.
I don't like the words squid ink.
Some people yeah, like what you're saying, Jason, like they can't get past like a certain thing. Like
Yeah.
my father, for example, like years ago, I would cook for like him and my brothers, and he'd be like, I hate yogurt and I hate sweet potatoes. And so I would just because I'm like, I feel like you haven't eaten this in a really long time, and maybe you had one bad experience and you haven't tried it again. And so I would just like rebrand it. And I I would make something and I'd go, oh dad, these are orange potatoes. And like I would just and and then he would eat the thing. Like I made he's like, I hate yogurt. And I made like spinach dip with Greek yogurt or something instead of sour cream. And he's like, this is delicious. Like, you just ate yogurt.
Yeah. My mom's the same way, honestly. Like growing up, like I was like super picky growing up just because of the way that like she cooked or like she doesn't like certain things, so she wouldn't cook with them. But like once I like got a job and like had money, I would go out to eat and like try a bunch of things, and like my grandmother like made really really good food, and that's where I learned about like Mexican food and all that. But she's still the same way like now, like nothing green, like no like it's weird to me, and I'm like she's like I don't like it. I'm like, but you've never tried it, so how do you know if you don't like it or not? I just don't like it. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't
How do you
want to
know?
like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like, are you like so stuck in your way that like you just like aren't like you just try it. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but like at least try. Like I'll try anything. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. Like beets, I'm not like the biggest fan of beets, but like if it's on like a tasting menu somewhere or whatever, I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna try it, even
Oh,
if I don't like it. But like, am I like out there like buying beets for myself? Probably not. But like other people like them, and like if we're working on new stuff and like we do a beet dish, like I'm gonna try it.
I
mm.
love beets actually. Like beets and parsnips and
Yeah, I
yeah.
love parsnips. Like beets are just like for me, they're just a little too earthy.
I really enjoy beets. I was like just roast them with like a little bit of vinegar and herbs, and I can eat so many beets. I love them.
I like beet juice.
That's interesting that you like beet juice, but not not the beet.
I mean, like I'll put beet juice with like other stuff like beets and
Oh, I
carrots
see.
and like ginger and like all that. Straight up, like probably not, but um that's like one thing. Like I don't know, foie gras, like I'll do foie gras. Like is it like my favorite thing? Probably not, but like I'll try it. I'll try anything.
Yeah, I won't try anything. We went to a Chinese or I don't know what kind of restaurant. It's Asian of some kind down the road one time, and we didn't know we were there on their Thanksgiving,
Uh-huh.
and we walked in and they'd left the door unlocked, and we just assumed, oh, they're open, but she said, no, we're closed. Um, it's our holiday. I was like, oh, okay, sorry, and we were about to leave, and she's like, wait, do you guys want to just join us? And so we're like, okay. And which is weird. They weren't going to charge us or anything. Just let's see what the Americans think of this Asian Thanksgiving. They made traditional food, and some things looked like spiders, and like it was like I could not eat it at all. It was just so insanely strange to me. I mean, I swear to God, one of them was spiders. I'm not joking. That is a spider, I think, and I don't know. But usually they're really good.
I would love that. I mean, there's
Yeah,
this dish
that sounds
like
cool.
there's this Moroccan restaurant called Galagetza, and like grasshopper, like dried out grasshopper, like spice seasoned grasshopper is like a big thing for them. And I've never like had it before, and then I tried it one time like in tacos and everything. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty delicious. Like it's just like crunchy and like good. I don't know, like it wasn't bad. Like it was seasoned well. It was like not like they were alive or anything. Like it was pretty fucking good.
I like them. I have a one of my best friends lives in Mexico with her partner, and I usually try to go there like once a year to visit. And they were like dried grasshoppers, and they were sprinkled over the guacamole. I think we were in Mexico City at the time, and I enjoyed them. I was like, oh, it's
It's
just like
so
a
good.
crunchy topping. It was good.
Yeah. They're like this big. Like they're not like it's not like they're fucking huge. Like they're like this big. Like people eat them as snacks.
Yeah, they're
I'm
like
telling you, man,
dried
you
and
gotta,
seasoned, Jason.
you gotta try it.
No, grasshoppers is survival food. Like you're out there, the wilderness, and you haven't eaten in 3 days. There's a grasshopper. Oh my God. No.
You like stuff like that is like they're like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like they're sacred out there. Like it's good. Like it's just culture, you know, like culture is just so different. That's why I'm excited for Spain. Like I'm excited to go to Spain and like eat the tapas and like all the Iberico ham and drink wine and like just experience like all the new culture
Mm.
that's out there.
I'm not good at eating in other countries. When I was in Edinburgh, I was there for a whole month, and I couldn't find anything to eat again. And then I ended up just eating crepes and Guinness ice for the entire time I was there because that's all I could find that I could deal with. Everything was just so odd. Everyone kept trying to get me to try haggis. I was like, no, nope, no, thank you. I just don't want it.
See, man, you just gotta explore. You just gotta like put all this aside and just like eat, right? Like and like do it with local people. Like don't go overboard, but like try stuff, you know?
I just sang instead. I just, while they're eating their haggis.
I'll try anything. Although I mostly plant-based, so I don't eat a lot of meat, but like if I'm like in experiencing another culture or something, like I might try some meat in a dish like that, but
Yeah.
usually I eat mostly plant-based. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I can do just plant based. I don't know. I like food too much to like do that. Like I've
So
had some of the plant-based food, like there's this place called Monty's and they do like vegan burgers and everything, and it was actually really good. Like I didn't like hate it at all. But like I don't know, like I've had like the daring chicken and like all the plant-based stuff, and it's just it's like so dry and like it's just not like that good. I
if you
don't
were
know.
on a survival show, do you think you'd have the upper hand in the finding food department? Like, do you think because I know you just get it at grocery stores and farmers markets, but you must know enough about plants and to be able to go into the woods and be like, I think that's just like so and so. I'm just wondering if you have that skill inherently because of it.
I mean, I can forage. I'm not like great at it, but like
Mm-hmm.
I know I can forage like and tell the difference between what mushrooms are good and what mushrooms aren't good.
Okay.
Um, but like I'm not like that great at like identifying like different like should I eat this berry or not, you know?
Oh, okay.
I think we're so used to like our phones like being
Yeah.
able to take a picture of it and be like, okay, is this like good for me or not?
Right.
Um,
That's a good point.
so like I'm not like a survivalist, like I don't really know it like that much, but like I can if I see it like I can point it out and like I'll know what it is.
Hmm, interesting.
Like what's kind of cool about like my neighborhood here in Koreatown, like a lot of people have like stuff growing, and I think it's everywhere in LA, but like there's a lot of fig trees in people's yards. There's a lot of lemon trees. Like I see
Mm.
a lot of squash and zucchini and like in these people's yards, like kale, you know, a lot of kale. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. Like that's what I would love to have. Like if I had the space, I would love to have a garden.
I used to have one in DC. Lived, even though I lived in the city, I had like a 4x8 like container garden and then
Yeah.
other containers around it. And I grew kale and pickling cucumbers and all different tomatoes and bell peppers and lots of herbs and lettuce and like and I miss that so much because like I could just make a salad out back, but I feel like I've tried to grow a few things out here and it's just like they just instantly get infested with pests. And I don't want to like use chemicals, so I can't seem to quite figure it out here for whatever reason. But like I had just such a great garden in DC.
There's a like in my where my apartment is like uh there's like this little like area where they take like the trash cans in and out through. But there's a big old like it's a big dirt patch area, and I want to like ask my landlord like, can I just like if I take care of it, can I put a garden here? I don't
Just
know
do
how.
it. Don't act like I just made like I just did it. I just took the it was like a back patch and I'm like,
Yeah,
just do it. They don't care. They're not if they're not doing anything with it anyway.
yeah, I thought about it. I was like, man, that'd be really cool.
Oh, I just looked it up, Rena. They have mini greenhouses. They're
Oh,
Mini
really?
green.
really small greenhouses. Yeah,
Oh,
That would be really
that would
cool.
work.
yeah.
They're cute.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, maybe yeah, because I just need to keep I bought a whole bunch of ladybugs one year and like I have all kinds of stuff.
I've been finding ladybugs in some of our produce sometimes, and I'll like take them outside and like let them go free.
Oh God. Yeah, we
I
used
can't
to find that.
be able to kill it. Like what the? I
No.
see it if it's still alive. I put it on my finger and I take them outside.
Yeah, ladybugs are like your friends. I agree.
That's how you know it's good produce, organic.
Oh, when I worked at Costco, we found some odd things in the produce section, like spiders that were definitely not from Vermont, stuff like that. Oh, it's creepy. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
'cause they'll hide it. They hide in between the leaves and
oh
everything.
yes, they do. Oh, oh, jeez. Introduce them to our ecosystem.
Yeah, that's why you got to make sure you wash everything pretty well.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of funny too. Like over the pandemic, like when people were like buying groceries and everything, and I'm just like, guys, like your fruits aren't gonna get you sick. Like,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah,
like
people
people
were
are like
washing everything down. I was just like, I'm not gonna do that. Like I draw the line there.
going to the grocery store March of 2020 and April of 2020 was very interesting.
Hmm.
Like everybody had like gloves on, right? And I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, touch one thing, you have to fucking switch them out.
Hmm.
But you're wearing gloves and you're just touching everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're already like spread like what the fuck?
No one knew what to do, really. They just had no clue what to do.
No.
Um, but and then when we figured out what we were going to do, then everybody would criticize the people for changing their minds, like, "Oh, see, you never knew." Like, it's science; it evolves.
Yeah.
It takes time to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. Like my ex-girlfriend at the time, like, you know, she would get her groceries delivered and like spray everything outside before she
Yeah.
brought them. And I'm like, dude,
Gosh.
like it's like whatever's gotten on there now is like probably like dead by now. Like
Yeah.
if you really read into it, like you can't get COVID or sick from like eating something or people handling food. It's like stuff that'll stick to like doorknobs and shit like that. Like I get it, like you're just being careful, but like some people just went way too overboard with it.
Yeah. Well, we didn't know what to do. We were
I mean,
just
me like for me, like I don't know, like my parent, I never caught it. Thank God, like knock on wood, right? Like never got like super sick. My parents did, and like I felt bad, but I was just like, I don't know, like if it happens to me, it happens. Like I'm not gonna change my life. Like I wore a mask and I did all that. Like I did it, but like I don't know, like there's been so many other where like the flu, everybody gets the flu, and it's like no one was like freaking out about that then.
we had to
And
change our life because we lived with our nana who was stage 5 kidney disease. So
yeah,
like we had a jewelry store. So we had to stop going to it pretty much. So pretty
yeah,
much we were, which eventually made us go out of business, of course. And but like I think the idea is that if you're going to carry it on to someone that's going to carry it on to someone that's a high risk, like I got it and my son got it and we had like little colds. Of course we got vaccinated, that's why we just had little
yeah,
cold. But like when we were living with nana, like we had to be so careful. So like people that weren't careful, they were wondering why we were shutting them out of our lives. So like, well, you're not careful and nana's sick already, so we're trying to, if you would just be careful, then
yeah. I mean, we did the same thing too. Like we would go see like, when we went to Christmas and saw my grandparents, like we sat
yeah,
outside.
yeah, exactly, yeah, that's good. So yeah, that's yeah, good.
I was careful, like I did shit like that. But when it came to like myself, God's plan, man, whatever happens, happens, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but like I take care of the people around me, but like,
Mm-hmm.
like myself is like, I got vaccinated and all that, like, but I still never got sick. Like my brother
Mm-hmm.
got it and like he said he was like he couldn't taste anything for a couple of days. He never really got like sick. My dad got like really sick and I felt bad for him. But then again, like, like I feel like right now, like I take care of myself, right? I try to eat healthy, I try to put good things in my body. I try to, stay active. I try to be, as like healthy as I can. I think that helps a lot, honestly.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
a lot of the people that were getting sick were like, a lot of people were like overweight or like they weren't like healthy enough. And like I really think it's like what you're putting in your body is really helping like to like fight off of that. Like I try to have like fruit, as much fruit and everything every day. A lot of vitamin C, a lot of like antioxidants, and like
Oh yeah.
it's a big part of like, like fighting diseases and stuff inside your body instead of just like putting medicine in, like food is medicine as well. And it's like if you're eating healthy enough and well enough, I feel like, you have a better chance of like not being sick all the time. Like, I have cooks that like are sick all the fucking time. Like people that are sick all the time, it's because they're not taking care of themselves. Like all they're drinking every night and they're eating fast food, and it's like that's not good for your body to like help like to recover.
Yeah, we also start at at a template too. Like not everybody has the same genetics.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I know people around me that do the same thing I do, and they're sick constantly, and I'm never sick. And I think it's genetics for me. I mean, because I don't really do anything. to-
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean it's both, right? Like it's the whatever
Definitely both.
genetics, and then like and so like whatever you put into your body or things that you do, it like can activate things or not activate things. Like you might
Yeah.
be predisposed to getting diabetes, but if you're really careful and mindful with how you're eating, then you might not activate that,
Right.
that gene. But yeah, like more and more, I mean, they are coming out with more research about how terrible ultra processed foods are, which
Ugh.
should be common sense, like,
Really
but then
bad.
Yeah.
I think the problem is like everybody's working 2 and 3 jobs, and so you just grab whatever is fast and whatever you can afford, because fresh produce and all of these things that should be local and accessible to people just aren't in a lot of
Yeah.
cases. Like the neighborhood where I lived in DC, like was kind of like a food desert. They didn't really, like, they had the corner store and a few other things. It was like because it was
Yeah.
not really like a safe neighborhood at the time. Yeah, and so they just didn't have those things, and a lot of the kids and people there had never seen produce or like how it grows, and so I was
Wow.
showing them that and just giving people like fresh stuff, and it's sad because I'm like, this should be, everybody should have access to it because food is medicine. And yeah, I mean, you got to put these good fresh things into your body.
Yeah, I mean that's the same thing like around like here, like if you go to for like Inglewood and Compton and like all these places that are like food deserts, like they have their local grocery store, right? But like most of the kids and everything are getting chips and everything from the corner store because that's what they can
Mm-hmm.
afford, like that's what they eat. They're not accessible to like tomatoes and lettuce and all that. Like, they just go to the liquor store and it's like they get what they can get over there and like that's it. And I like you said, like I feel like food should be accessible to everybody, whether it's, a fresh piece of lettuce or something, like it should be something that's accessible, like a small grocery store or whatever, urban gardens or something, like people are just like I heard this guy say something like, people complain that like, healthy eating and all this like active lifestyle is expensive and it takes time, right? Well, going to the doctor and sitting at the doctor's office and buying medications, that's expensive and it takes time as well. So it's like you kind of have to pick and choose, what do you want? Do you want to spend a little bit extra money on healthy food and being, somewhat active and being, having a sort of a healthy lifestyle, or do you want to just like be a piece of shit and not saying like being a piece of shit, but it's like not take those steps and you're going to be constantly at the doctor, you're going to be constantly like dealing with like being sick or like having to like have medication or something, as opposed to like just like taking that extra time to like take care of yourself. How do you want to live? Do you want to live spending time at the gym or like eating healthy and like spending a little extra money on that, or do you want to live like being at the doctor's office and having to get medication and do that all the time?
I think also like the sad thing that, and I do a lot of health and lifestyle writing also and research. And I think like now the saddest thing is that nobody's educating anybody on like how to eat, what to eat. And so like, cause now we're so deep into this terrible food system and our terrible medical system that like they're all feeding each other. And so people are eating all of these ultra processed foods and they don't even necessarily know like that this is really bad for you. And these are like I told you, some of those kids and some of the adults like didn't know how certain things grew, or they didn't know like, oh, what is this? And so they're like, if you don't even have that baseline education, then you don't even know what to seek out that is gonna help you. Like I wrote an article on I used to do a column called Innovative Hospitals. And this one hospital, I think they were out of Pennsylvania somewhere, but they were prescribing people food. It's like people that had heart disease, diabetes, and things. They would prescribe them food and, a meal plan and everything with Whole Foods, and then they were realizing that people couldn't access it, so they couldn't afford it or they couldn't get there, and so then they started a food pantry that was like connected. So you would get your prescription, and then
That's
you
cool.
could also you'd go in, you work with a dietitian, and you get access to the food, and then you also get that information on
Yeah.
how to prepare it, and so that it's good and healthy for you. And but when you interview people like this, and like, because I talked to a patient and they were just like, I had no idea. It's like I didn't know what to eat. But and like once somebody taught her, she was super into it and like was like, yeah, I'm working really hard to get off of these medications now, and I'm seeing all of these improvements in my health. And so then it does really just hit you, and you're like, oh, like a lot of people just don't get taught, yeah,
Yeah,
like through
exactly.
good whole foods.
You go to the South and it's kind of like that too. Like my grandfather, he lives in like this really small town, Laurel, right? And like the only thing out there, like they have a grocery store, but it's like it's a Walmart and it's like chain like fast food restaurants. And like if you notice in like small town like that, a lot of people like they don't eat healthy, like everybody's overweight, like
Yeah.
um
Cracker Barrel.
a lot of soda, a lot of like processed food, a lot of, no one's going to like make a salad or, eat differently, but they don't know, like they just know what they have. Like this is what they eat, like, boxed mac and cheese and like shit like that.
Yeah,
So I think it's really about like
totally.
educating people, and like, like, but then again, like some people just are so set in their ways, they never want to learn or change.
Well, educating them when they're young is probably the best way to do it. So you're, or even educate and show, and practice it because, yeah, once you're older,
You're not going to change anything.
no.
Mm-hmm.
You want to drink 12 sodas, you're going to drink 12 sodas, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, it's difficult to change once you're built.
It's like my life, this is what my life is now.
Yeah,
So I guess we're coming up, and usually we end at like the 2 hour mark, so we're
yeah.
coming up. But I do have one burning question that while we have you, so we've heard many times that like, oh, you just can't get any good pizza in LA, like from people from New York, and my youngest brother now lives in New York City. So I'm very curious. I want to know from you, from a chef's perspective, what do you think about pizza in LA versus New York?
I think we have some of the best pizza right now. The pizza movement out here is great. Like New York has good pizza. Like it's really good. Like, you go to Lucali's or you go to Roberta's or, Joe's or whatever it is in New York, you get your dollar slices. Like, I mean, Lucali's is fucking fantastic. But there's so much good pizza here in LA too. Like, there's this place, I think I was telling Jonathan about it. It's called Oste, and it's on Third Street and like close to La Cienega. Like they do like pizzas, like Roman style pizzas, very light, fluff. It's so fucking good. And like, all the people that are doing pizza, it's good. Like pizza in LA is really good. Gras and that place
Yeah.
is really good. You
Now,
go
do those
uh
places ship the New York water in?
no. See that people are like, oh, New York, you need New York water. You don't like it's really about like what you're sourcing, right? It's like you're like for us, like I said, like I source really good flour. And like it's shockingly the water here is actually really good. But I'm not like flying in like Italian water or something like that, like make my pizza.
There's all
If you have really good product, like really good flour, really good whatever it is, you're gonna create a superior product. But it's really about like how you cook it and like how you like, you know, use your ingredients, really good tomatoes, really good flour, really good cheese, like it can only be really good, right? So, but it's like if you're using like commodity flour, like you don't really care, like you're gonna be able to taste the difference in the flavor. Like, I'll eat Domino's, like I love Domino's, but like if I have a chance to order from like, the local pizza shop, I'd rather do that. You can taste the difference. Like you can really taste the difference, especially if it's done like really well. Like I can go on and on about like how many good pizza places there are in Los Angeles right now. The square pie movement has been like really big too, like doing like Detroit style pizzas and like focaccia pizzas, Sicilian style. I mean, there's this really good spot in Echo Park called Quarter Sheets Pizza, and they do really good stuff, and they're getting like a lot of write-ups right now. Their food is really good. I mean, their pastries are really good. Um, uh, who else is really good out here? I mean, Nice Guy has like really good pizza. Friends and family, they have a good slice. Like it just really depends. Like if you're going like, there's this place in Culver City called Foolproof Pizza. They do like New York style sourdough like slices, like the big pizzas, and like it's so good. Like a lot of these bakers like Hail Mary Pizza and Atwater Village, that's really good. There's so many good places.
oh, well, there you go.
There's a couple even like in my neighborhood, right? But I feel like now I can say I've talked to a chef and I could tell you that there's so next time somebody tells me you can't get good pizza
Yeah, but
in
he
LA.
killed it though. I'm gonna have to edit it out. He said he liked Domino's, and that's gonna hurt the the recommendation. Although
Dude,
I like Domino's too.
Domino's is great.
I have no problem with it at all.
If I'm ordering late, that's what I'm gonna get.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
And like, what's not to like?
yeah, it's
Garlic
fine.
buttery crust.
Well, I have a final question also. It's a question that I ask every single guest. It's a hypothetical. And it's completely unrelated to everything we've talked about. You have to picture yourself where you are, which is easy. And through the door, someone walks in. They're dressed exactly like you, except they look like they've been through something. Like maybe there's dirt on their face, or they have like maybe a little bit of like a rip in their shirt or something. And he walks up to you. Remember, he looks exactly like you. It says, "I'm from the future. You have to come with me right now." What do you do?
I would go run it. Why not? Let's see what's going on.
Yeah,
Who knows? Maybe just dirty from working in the yard.
he needs help on the line.
Something. Yeah, you never know. If it's your future self, then like I kind of already know what I'm getting myself into. But then again, do you want to see what's in the future and like know what's going on in the future rather than not experience it? Like it's like that point of like, do you go and fuck everything up?
Yeah,
Not necessarily fuck everything up, but like, do you want to know what's like, and then you come back ready, you know what's gonna happen. Maybe you have an opportunity to change some of the things that you saw in the future, but like I think time with time is like it's meant to be and like work itself out. Like we shouldn't know what's going on in the future, right? Like the moments that we have now with learning experiences, like that's what makes us who we are. And if we know what's going on in the future, then like we're not gonna the same experiences that we have that we're meant to have won't feel the same.
I agree. I'm
But
with
like
you.
seeing the future would be kind of cool. But like then again, I'm just like, do I want to know? Not really. I'd rather just experience and
Well,
find out like in the moment.
you don't know that he's going to bring you to the future. He's from the future. He might just be getting you to go do something right now that changes something.
I would do that.
Yeah, well, you got to know. I personally am like, yeah, I got to know what I want. I mean,
And
I'll
I
assess
would
it
want to
when I
know what
get
I
there.
want to. It's like, what is the future that you want? I think it'd be kind of cool though. Never really thought about that.
Awesome. All right, this was great.
Let's do handles. So
Yes.
so Chef Nate, where when we post this, we'll put everything in the description. So where can people find your work? What do you want to highlight?
Everything's mostly on my Instagram right now. All my stuff's on my Instagram. Like I try to update my website as much as possible. But like most of my work's gonna be on my Instagram, and so if people are looking for, what I'm doing, like it's I think that's like the easiest way to like for to promote now is on Instagram. So everything's usually gonna be up there. Whether I'm doing like a pop-up or anything like that, it's always gonna be on Instagram.
All right, nice. Yeah, so everybody, thank you for tuning in to Human Happy Hour, and Chef Nate, thanks for being with
Thanks
us.
for having me. It was a lot of fun.
And
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, do you want to do the links and
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Anyone, please go to our YouTube page and hit, well, you're already there. Please subscribe and like and share. And his iPad just died. That's why he's here. He's like, fix my iPad. We're also on Instagram. Uh-oh. And Twitter. And
Yeah.
TikTok. And most importantly, go to Patreon so that we can do this for a living and I can afford childcare.
Yeah.
So this doesn't
Yeah.
happen. But thanks a lot, Nate. It's been great. I
Yeah,
learned a
thank
lot.
you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you helped me change my mind. I used to be kind of like, chef, all I have to do is go to Google and look up a recipe and just pay attention and follow it. But there's a lot of artists. You're like almost like a musician.
Yeah, like you can always follow a recipe online, but like it's more of a guideline. You have to do what feels
Yeah.
right to you.
Yeah, it's when you were saying you wrote your recipes, I'm like, that's kind of like Beethoven, just sitting down and writing his piece and not even having a piano near him, just writing it.
Yeah, it's usually what happens. I just write stuff down and like
Great.
I'll go a bunch of things and I'm like, okay, this is what's gonna go on it. I'll figure it out later, but it's like a dash here, a dash there, something of that in there. And like if it tastes good, I'm like, okay, I gotta do this again.
Yeah. Everyone watch Ratatouille. 'Cause that's every
Everyone just sees like a little mouse on top of their head telling them what to do.
That's right. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you.
Talk to you soon. Thanks.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.